opportunity to tell and show you how the American Red Cross has served you and your neighbors in 1957. It's been a year of hard work for every volunteer and staff worker, a year of achievement, a year of trial. Red Cross has been on the job continuously, acting for you wherever people have needed a helping hand. In this, my first year as president of the American Red Cross, I have learned what a terrible adversary nature can be on the rampage. I have traveled from one end of the country to the other. I have surveyed at first hand the havoc wrought by tornadoes and hurricanes. I have witnessed destruction comparable only to that which I saw in wartime. Floods in the Virginias and Kentucky, tornadoes in Texas, Hurricane Audrey in Louisiana. Those were the headlines a few months ago. But long after the headlines faded, Red Cross was still on the job helping the thousands of people who were hurt, whose homes had been damaged and destroyed. One of the key obligations of the Red Cross is to aid the victims of disaster, to help them rise again from the ruins, and to get back as rapidly as possible to normal living. Now, I have found that few people really know what this assistance actually means. They see people being evacuated from their homes. They see field kitchens serving long lines of victims and rescue workers. They see the shelters where the homeless are cared for. But big as these jobs are, they are only the emergency phases of an operation. The much longer, the much harder phase is the job of rebuilding after the emergency. That is an unglamorous and tedious task. But it is during this period that 85% of all Red Cross disaster relief funds must be spent. That is the time when homes are rebuilt and refurnished, when occupational equipment is replaced, when nursing and medical bills are paid. And all of this is provided for by the American people in the spirit of neighbor helping neighbor through their Red Cross. No repayment is requested, and none is expected. My initiation to Red Cross disaster services came during the worst disaster cycle in the 76-year history of the organization. It has been a most expensive cycle, too, with disaster relief expenditures for those 2 years, that is, since August 1955, amounting to over $50 million. From Louisiana and Texas to North Dakota, from the Carolinas to Oregon, disaster has taken its toll. And whenever a disaster struck, victims learned that through their neighbors in the rest of the land, they were receiving help through the Red Cross. And this help was not limited to our own country. Through the League of Red Cross Societies, we have assisted disaster victims in Burma, Greece, India, Iran, Japan, and other countries. We have sent packages, food packages, to Americans imprisoned by the Chinese communists. We were on the job also when thousands of persecuted, starved freedom seekers poured out of Hungary across the Austrian border. The American Red Cross, in addition to operating 5 refugee camps in Austria, provided clothing, comfort articles, recreation and welfare services for the refugees coming to this country. Last summer, I visited Red Cross installations at U.S. military bases and hospitals in Germany, France, and England. There I found the military leaders unanimous that the Red Cross is meeting the emergencies and problems of our servicemen. We have men serving in the armed forces in this country and about 1 million overseas. And it is a very big job which requires approximately $36 million annually. That budget provides staff workers at military installations and hospitals. It gives assistance to the families of servicemen through home service in Red Cross chapters. It includes recreational activities at isolated overseas stations and services in Veterans Administration's offices and in some 200 veterans hospitals. The services given fill a tremendous need. They include counseling in personal and family problems, providing emergency loans or grants to servicemen and their families, and assisting the military by verifying the need for emergency leaves. Every month last year, more than 98,000 men and women in uniform were assisted by Red Cross field staff. Each month, more than 79,000 families of servicemen received aid from Red Cross chapters. This is a blood bottle. It is a symbol of life and hope. The Red Cross on its label means that it will be filled by a volunteer donor, one of the many devoted men and women who last year gave more than 2 million pints of blood to help their sick and injured neighbors. Did you know that the Red Cross operates 51 regional blood centers and distributes blood to more than 3,900 hospitals in this country? And that it provides almost 40% of the blood used in this country? You will be interested to know that no blood is wasted. It is useful as whole blood for 21 days. Outdated blood is processed into fractions, sometimes called derivatives, for clinical use or for research. The fractions are gamma globulin, serum albumin, and fibrinogen. And these are powerful agents for the relief of suffering. The newest of these, fibrinogen, has saved the lives of many young mothers when certain complications of childbirth caused otherwise uncontrollable bleeding. The study of blood continues day after day in order to find new ways in which it can be used to save our lives and the lives of future generations. That service has been a very, very fascinating one to me. No service in Red Cross is more honored than nursing. From the earliest days, volunteer Red Cross nurses have served in epidemics, in disasters, and in community health programs. True to their great tradition, this year they gave their skill to the sick and injured wherever floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes caused injury and suffering. Over 2,400 nursing assignments were made in disasters during the past year. In the summer and fall, the plague of Asian flu threatened the nation. Quick to recognize the potential danger, Red Cross called on all of its chapters to prepare. Across the nation, people were enrolled in Red Cross home nursing courses, so that in every community, men and women would be prepared to help their families, their neighbors, and thus spare doctors and hospitals for the critically ill. Death strikes on our highways, our farms, and in our homes. Accidents on land and water, many of them preventable, take a greater toll of human life each year than has been taken in all of America's great disasters. Now you can do something about these tragedies by learning about Red Cross first aid. Over years, tens of thousands of lives have been saved because there were people at hand trained by Red Cross to know what to do in the critical moment of emergency. This year, a revised first aid textbook was published, and its contents were streamlined to give the maximum training in the minimum of time. A new version of an old method of artificial respiration has been introduced for infants and children. You will be able to help your family and your neighbors by joining the 850,000 people who last year received certificates for completing courses in first aid. It was also a big year in water safety, too. Since 1914, Red Cross has been teaching swimming and life-saving with the avowed purpose of making adults and young people safe in the water and on the water. In recent years, we have intensified the program of instruction in the use of small craft because about half of each year's deaths by drowning occur in boating accidents. Another important new development was the publication of the book Teaching Johnny to Swim, a manual which enables parents to teach their children the fundamentals of swimming and water safety. Youth also serves through Red Cross. American Junior Red Cross members participate in the adult programs of volunteers in blood centers and at military and veterans hospitals. Last year, in the school programs, the juniors sent 400,000 gift boxes and 360 school chests to children in 39 countries. Just think of that. The value of assistance to children in other lands totaled more than $1 million last year. And this included supplies valued at almost $200,000 for international disaster needs. This, then, is the record, in part, of what you, the American people, have done for your neighbors through the Red Cross in the year 1957. I wish I had time to tell you the human stories behind this annual report. The disaster victims raised from despair. The children and adults saved by blood. The servicemen who have been given friendly help in times of great anxiety and emergency. It is an impressive record, and I am very proud to have played a part in it. My faith in Red Cross is strong because I firmly believe that the heart of the organization is the volunteer who serves only to help his neighbors. And one of the most rewarding experiences I have had during my period of service with the Red Cross has been my association with the dedicated 2 million devoted volunteers who give their time so generously. That contribution assures that the Red Cross will go stronger with each task that it faces. With your help now, in making the work of the Red Cross known throughout the land, I'm absolutely confident that the Red Cross will always be on the job for you when it counts. And it does count somewhere every day, every minute of the year.